Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everybody. It is Sunday, April 14th, and you don't know what that means, but it is time for the High Risk Wrestling Podcast. I've just been tired. Haven't had the strength or energy to do anything, but I'm going to bring you the podcast. But first things first, check out the socials, Charismatic Creations on Facebook and YouTube, Charismatic_Creations52 on Instagram, and of course the 215 on Twitter. I'm working on a new website, sorry. And today's show, the Ballad of Swerve Strickland. The man is getting his time to shine. His shot is coming as he will be taking on Samoa Joe for the AEW World Championship at Dynasty. So we're going to do a look back at his career, but for now, you know what's next. So just go on and hit my music. All right, so with Swerve getting the title shot, I thought it'd be fun to look at the next 5 men who should get a world title shot in AEW. Starting with number 5, Powerhouse Hobbs. He is a talent, starting out in AEW Dark and then rising up the ranks. It's been a good journey for him, and he's getting featured weekly now as a part of the Don Callis family. I think he might have only had one title shot ever in AEW, and it's time to change that. This guy's the future of the business, and sometimes we just need a Hoss champion. Number 4, Orange Cassidy. No matter where you put this guy, no matter where you place him in the card, he is always must watch. And he is, at this point, he's a main eventer. He doesn't have to be in the main event scene, but he has been placed in a position as one of the important players in AEW. And it's not a matter of if, but when he gets a title shot. Number 3, Katsuyori Shibata, my guy Shibata. I understand what he's there to do in AEW, but I think we got to change that. He's held as the measuring stick in professional wrestling. He's now going under the moniker The Wrestler, and he's a badass. And when you go across from him in the ring, you know it's time to bring your A game. I would love for just a quick, maybe 3-4 month title run for Shibata, just to really recognize what he's done for this business. Number 2, Will Ospreay. Again, I've said it time and again, I do think the main event of All In London will be Will Ospreay versus Swerve Strickland for the AEW World Championship. We'll get into that a little bit later with the Dynasty preview, but Will Ospreay is going to be world champion in AEW, and it's probably going to happen at All In. The guy is just too good, and I don't even think he's ever been the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. With now John Moxley bringing that championship over to AEW now, it's going to be really good and fun when we see Will Ospreay get that title shot at number 1. Surprisingly, Jay White. Yes, Jay White has already had a title shot, but we've got to erase that bad taste of his previous title feud with MJF out of our mouths. Currently feuding with the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass. A lot of people are upset that Jay White has not immediately been placed in the main event scene, but it's okay. You just can't start there. You've got to work your way up, and I think we can build our way back to Jay White becoming a main event player. The spotlight is bright. It's shining on our world champion, Samoa Joe. He is the current AEW World Champion, defending the championship against Swerve Strickland, and it has been an incredible run for Samoa Joe. Since returning to essentially Ring of Honor and joining AEW, he became the longest reigning television champion in the promotion's history. He is now the World Heavyweight Champion after not really having the trigger pulled on him in there to be. Remember, he's a multiple-time NXT champion. That's all great. That is well and good. The NXT championship has a really great lineage, minus like 1 or 2 hiccups and speed bumps. But as he got to the main roster, the WWE never pulled the trigger on Joe. Every summer, it felt like they would treat him as a badass, treat him as this unstoppable force, and never put the championship on him. His feud with Brock Lesnar was really, really good, and again, they never pulled the trigger on him. Joe is a believable badass. He is believable in the sense that he can whoop your ass and carries himself as such, and AEW figured it out with Samoa Joe. No matter how his championship run ends, it's going to be good because Samoa Joe has now been presented as the badass and the world championship threat that he has always meant to be. We'll be right back. Whose house? Swerve's house. Yeah. I'm enjoying these ballad shows, these retrospectives, especially when big moments happen in a person's career. And right now we are looking at one Swerve Strickland, Swerve Scott Strickland, kill shot, however you want to look at it. But let's talk about my man Swerve. Who is Swerve? Well, Swerve is currently wrestling in AEW under the name Swerve Strickland. He's going by many names as Isaiah Scott, Isaiah Strickland, Shane Strickland, Swerve Scott, Killshot. He's wrestled for a number of promotions and won titles throughout these promotions, and now he has made it to the big leagues, and that's great. Swerve is from Tacoma, Washington, was in the Army, moved around and found a love for professional wrestling. So he started his early career up when he was in the Army Reserves over here in Maryland and Pennsylvania. Swerve served in the Army for 7 years. Like that's pretty crazy. And essentially made his way to Combat Zone Wrestling in 2012. CZW was started over in Blackwood, New Jersey, right across from me here in Philadelphia. And he got to start there. He wrestled against Samara Del Sol. He wrestled against AR Fox, who he became really, really good friends with, and came across a bunch of people in CZW. Wrestled against Desmond Xavier, Leo Rush, Davey Richards, Ricky Shane Page. It was a wild ride early in his career. For 5 years, he was doing very, very well in CZW. Then he made his way to the independent circuit for a good 7 years, almost a decade. Came in and evolved. He defeated Matt Riddle. Yeah, that Riddle for the Evolve Championship. Was infused with Fabian Eichner. Wrestled against Cassius Ohno, wrestled against Adam Cole, and it was the start of something special for him. Then he made his debut in WXW, going up against the likes of Angelico and Jack Evans. Ring count, the team of Timothy Thatcher and Walter, Mustache Mountain, the team of Tyler Bate and Trent Seven, the team of the leaders of the New School, Marty Scurll and Zack Sabre Jr. So he, while on the independent scene, was wrestling against some of the best wrestlers on the planet. You know these names. He made a stint in AAA, and he was in a World Cruiserweight Championship match. Like, the independent scenes, I truly believe is where you can get the best work and the best skill and make the most of your career. He then made himself and worked around in other promotions, fighting guys like Dragon Lee and Flip Gordon and Darby Allin and Pentagon Jr. and Brian Cage. Like, his love for professional wrestling took him all over the world, all over many, many places, and it benefited him greatly. He made his debut in Defy, and over that course of 7 years, Swerve picked up skills and made a name for himself and built his character until we get to Lucha Underground. Lucha Underground is a fabled wrestling, promotion, TV show, however you want to call it. And it was there he came up with the Kill Shot character. So his friend Ricochet, yes, that Ricochet, got him into Lucha Underground, and wrestling against Ricochet, who was going by Prince Puma. he used his stint in the army as the basis of his character, which we gave him the name Killshot. He wrestled under a mask. He aligned himself with Willie Mack and Big Rick, who we know as Ezekiel Jackson. We got to do a retrospective on Lucha Underground, yo. Yeah, we got to really look at Lucha Underground. And they lost to the team of Angelico, son of Havoc, who was Matt Cross and Ivelisse for the Trios Championships. And there, after the first season of Lucha Underground, he asked the head writer of Lucha Underground, Krista Joseph, yeah, you know who Krista Joseph is, to give some background to his character. And that's when the army elements, the military elements started coming in. He had a feud with Marty Martinez, and who stole his dog tags, and that really opened up everything for him. His story of receiving his letter from A.R. Fox, former brother-in-arms who Killshot left for dead in a battle, created a great feud. His time in Lucha Underground was something special. Fighting with his mask, he surrendered it, and he surrendered to Son of Havoc, and did identify himself as Lieutenant Jermaine Strickland. As he was leaving the temple, he apologized to Dante Fox and asked to be relieved of duty. This was one of the most brutal matches you will ever see in wrestling history. The Ultima Lucha Tres Part 1 in a Hell of War match was absolutely crazy. He exited Lucha Underground after that. He then spent 2 years in Major League Wrestling. And MLW I like. And once again, he came across Matt Riddle. He came across Low Key and Sami Callihan. And this was good. This was Major League Wrestling started really having a TV deal and really having a good roster. But it was only a short period, a brief period for Swerve Strickland over there in Lucha Underground, and then in Major League Wrestling. But things changed when he joined the WWE. He joined NXT. It was under the name Isaiah Swerve Scott, and he was in the breakout tournament wrestling against many guys. He then was a part of the Cruiserweight Championship division, wrestling guys like Drew Gulak, Travis Banks, Jordan Devlin, and Angel Garza. Jordan Devlin is JD McDonough, and Travis Banks is, well, Travis Banks. But he was unsuccessful in capturing the gold. He then took part in a new Cruiserweight Champion tournament representing, it was like a block version, and he was in the same block as Akira Tozawa and Gentleman Jack Gallagher. He was able to defeat El Hijo del Fantasma, who had also worked for Lucha Underground. And who is El Hijo del Fantasma? That would be one Santos Escobar. So yes, we got to do a retrospective on Lucha Underground, y'all. Just the people that were in that promotion. And he didn't advance to the finals, and he began feuding with Escobar, and just couldn't get the gold. And something changed. Something changed, right? So he started a group, Hit Row, and in that group, AJ Francis interfered on his behalf, who's now going by Top Dollar, Tahuti Mouse, who's now going by Ashanti Theodonis, and Brianna Brandy, who was going by BFAB. Hit Row. And with the help of Hit Row, he defeated Bronson Reed to become the North American champion. His first title in the WWE. And we're thinking, okay, this is good. We got a nice little faction here that are special, that look good, got the look, got the feel. I'm proud. And then they were called up to the main roster. I'm like, okay, cool. Hit Row's on the main roster. And he retained the North American Championship only to lose it to Mello. That's cool. When they got caught up to the main roster, B-Fab got released. And then he was released. So the prospective leader of this faction was gone, because he who must not be named thought that Top Dollar should be the leader and that Swerve and Ashanti should be the tag team, which again made no sense, because Swerve was clearly the veteran of the group and had the experience to lead. And now I understand why Swerve did not want to go back. What do you mean didn't want to go back? Well, he spent some time on the independent scene and then had a quick match in New Japan wrestling against Jay White. And then he joined AEW. And before we get to his AEW career, when he joined AEW, he was putting in good work. And a certain someone called him while he was under contract and asked, hey, you want to come back? And the answer was an emphatic no, because I don't like how you all treated me in your company. And I get that. You stand up for yourself. You stand up for what you believe in, what you think is right. So he joins AEW, does a little bit of stuff here, does a little bit of stuff there, and then forms a tag team with Keith Lee. And they call themselves Swerve in Our Glory. And these two dudes become a great, fun tag team, feuding with Team Taz and then winning the tag team championships after having a fantastic match with the Acclaimed. And it's sometimes you got to pull the trigger and say, yo, we got to put the belts on. These guys were so over. But the thing is, Swerve wanted to cheat to win. He wanted to get W's by any means necessary. And listen, I can get behind that. Keith Lee didn't want to do that. So essentially, they split. We also never got the final match between these two. It just never happened between Keith Lee and Swerve. So that was Swerve in Our Glory. And then he creates the Mogul Embassy. The first version of this faction was absolute trash because the people he chose were trash. Then they merged with the Embassy and got rid of the trash, and they became the Mogul Embassy, because he started out as the Mogul affiliates with Rick Ross. And then once they joined with the Embassy and becoming the Mogul Embassy, they became a much better team. So now you have the Gates of Agony tag team. You have Brian Cage, you have Swerve, you have Prince Nana, you got Rick Ross. That's hot. And now he's building a name for himself. He's feuding with the likes of Darby Allin and Sting with the history that they have. He helps turn AR Fox heel. Has a tag match at All In, the biggest wrestling show of all time. And his career is taking off, but now it's time to flip that switch. And Swerve feuds with Hangman Adam Page. It's not personal. Swerve just wants Hangman's spot. Again, it ain't personal. He wants the same opportunities that have been afforded to Hangman. And Swerve wants to become the first black AEW World Champion. They mock Page, and they have this epic feud. 3 matches. And, the first 2 matches were just something else. They wrestle at Wrestle Dream and have a fantastic match. They lose to the Elite at Grand Slam. And they have a contract match. They have a contract. Sign it. They then have their Texas Death Match. Beautiful work. Beautiful, beautiful work. And there we see it with Swerve. There we see the guy. We see Shane Strickland. We see Isaiah Scott. We see Killshot. And he puts it all together. Not to mention Prince Nana dancing his dumb ass on the side. And it's all coming together for Swerve. He enters the Continental Classic and finishes near the top, but doesn't win as he loses in the triple threat match at the tournament finals. He then has a nice little fun little thing with Dustin Rhodes. And now it's time for him to come for the World Championship. So once again, here is Hangman Page putting himself in somebody else's business. Now, yes, Swerve did invade Hangman's house. That is true. But Hangman has said, yo, I will make sure you do not win the World Championship. They have a one-on-one match. It ends in a draw. Then they go to a 3-way match at what pay-per-view was that? I don't know, what pay-per-view was that? Joe won the match. I know Joe. It was at Revolution. It's at Revolution. Joe won the match because Joe is Joe. And we got a face turn. Swerve turned face. And he defeats Takeshita to become the #1 contender to face Samoa Joe at Dynasty. Now, watch Takeshita was also another person who was at the top of the ranking, so it made sense for these two to have a #1 contenders match. So here we are, Swerve Strickland getting ready to possibly win gold. Whose house? It's probably going to become Swerve's house sooner than we think. This is how you build a star. And his wrestling career comes second to none. Yes, there probably should be some more world championships in his resume right now. And I remember doing someone else's wrestling show, and they asked me, they were going through, black wrestlers, who would you build your company around? And the moment we got to Swerve, there was no one else. Swerve can do everything. I've seen Swerve in tag teams. I've seen Swerve as a single star. I've seen Swerve in a mask. I've seen Swerve as a face, as a heel, do comedy, do everything. Swerve is perfect. It's about to be his house. I am ready for it. Are you? That's our show. I know it's a little short today. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. What we got coming up this week? We got part 1 of our listing of worst NXT call-ups. We got a flashback Friday since I didn't do one last week. We've got AEW Dynasty preview this Saturday. We've got What Just Happened. The following Monday, we got some wrestling Reddit content. I'm falling back from wrestling r/wrestling because they are just really piling on the AEW hate. It's not good. And come back for the recap every single Sunday. But that is our show. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Check out the social Charismatic Creations on Facebook and YouTube, Charismatic_Creations52 on Instagram, and of course the 215 on Twitter. And as always, Gigi Dolan, Bailey, Isla Dawn, Chris Statlander, Willow Nightingale, and Anna J. Holla at your boy. Peace.